it's not looping today. What's going on? Hang on. What is going on, traders? I know I had that intro looping and then not looping, so you got a little bit of it. Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream here. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we get started, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all your money. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Everything here is for entertainment purposes only, not a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content like RDF, Top 1 Futures. I cannot be unbiased if I stand to make money. Along with all that, I'm going to get the chart loaded up. We got a special guest behind the scenes right now. We got Christian Williams, aka Decipher the Algo. Going to bring him in right now. Going to be talking a little bit about markets, what we're seeing in these wild back and forth headline markets. But let's bring him in. Welcome to the show, my man. What is going on, Christian?
Hello. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What's up, chat? Good morning, everybody. Hello, Real Deal. Good morning. Yeah, we got a ton of people in. What's up, Keith? We got the winner from yesterday. As you guys know, we will have another, or if you don't know, we will have another 50K account giveaway later on stream. Keeping this funded frenzy week, whatever ridiculous name that I'm calling this week. But yeah, man, I'll get some analysis rolling. Take a look at ES. Christian, you trade NQ primarily, right?
Yeah, yep. Wild West. I'm mostly a NASDAQ trader. ES is where I kind of cut my teeth, though. I started out with options primarily, then moved into index options with the S&P, and then now it's just NASDAQ. Just the volatility there is a lot. It's a lot stronger, just to say the least.
Yeah, but, dude,
ES is a good product. Most people should be trading that one.
Yeah, I like ES, man. I went back and forth. I spent a lot of time like in CFDs before I came over to futures, and a lot of it was US 30 Dow and NAS 100, which is NQ. And yeah, it wasn't until futures that I really started trading ES. It's just calmer, man. It's a little bit slower. I don't have as many like heart palpitations and I'm not like sweating watching the crazy wicks on NQ, but I think it comes down to preference, right? Like if that's your
really
style,
does. Yeah, it really does. I think, and NASDAQ has more volatility in the sense that it's a thinner market. ES is a lot more reliable in that sense. So, any index trader should be looking at both of them. And, what I do on my screens is I genuinely have ES next to NQ on two different screens. So I'm always watching back and forth, but that's like the best indicator for whatever you're trading. If you're trading NASDAQ, look at ES. If you're trading ES, look at NASDAQ.
Nice. So you're the correlation guy. You like to take a look at both of them.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
if you have the bandwidth for it, you should be looking at a couple different markets. I don't look at Dow or anything outside of those two. I don't look at the Russell, but they're important. Even gold has its day where sometimes if Nasdaq's super weak, you might see gold rallying a ton. So intra-market analysis, comparing and contrasting, it's always going to pay off.
Yeah.
But you only got so much screen, so.
Yeah, that's it, man. I like honestly, I don't do it myself. It's just
Mm.
most of the people I have on now that I'm having more and more guests, they're the opposite of me. Like Tanner was on, and I know you work with him.
Yeah.
He's got like this whole dashboard he shows like 6 or like 9 different charts watching
Yeah.
like QQQ and stuff. So I think it can be really helpful. I just think for each individual person, you got to ask yourself like, can you handle it? Can you, if you're watching also like bookmap, order flow, and you got a
Yeah.
lot of tools.
I think that's the trade-off because I don't watch anything outside of the candlesticks. So if I did, I wouldn't have the ability to watch multiple
Yeah.
markets with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. But no, I see a lot of guys do it. A lot of guys do it. And it's interesting, man. I think I'd have to get rid of something else if I was gonna add
Mm.
in watching like NQ, YM and gold. I found myself on the wrong chart too many times. Like I'd really
Yeah,
be
right.
trading ES on NQ and that type of deal. But yeah. So watch this market. Just looking at the daily real quick. What's up,
Mm.
chat? You guys will get my regular analysis. Kind of wild west up here, man. Like choppy back and forth wicks, kind of consolidating up near these highs. Nice strong bullish movement off of these insane lows on tariff talk. Definitely still a headline market. We get these quick wiki movements back and forth. Um, I'm looking at this push towards all time highs, man. We're not too far
Mm.
off. It looks like we want to try to run at it at a certain point, but I'm not sure if we're gonna have to pull any crazy, just high time frame speculation. Not sure if we're gonna have to crazy wick back down or pull anything off before we do it, or if we're just gonna chop here for a while. Um, dropping down to the 15, kind of see the same thing. Bullish into this open above VWAP, pushing above overnight high already, getting ready to try to test yesterday's high, maybe form this what was looking like a bearish candle into a long wick to the downside, bullish daily candle. But this
Yeah.
is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for
I mean,
sure.
I do like the idea for running for all-time highs. I've been very interested in that since April. April is a great time to load up on the long-term portfolio. That's what I was personally doing. Yeah, then coming into today, it's an interesting open. Yeah, we are bullish above VWAP. I did see this, giant wick on the 5 minute for, let's just say, Nasdaq specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Did try a short, just took it off break even. Anytime I'm trading very early in the session, I'm going to be quick with the stops. In this scenario, I might have been a little too quick because I do think it'll come back and test VWAP, which is about 500.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 933 for ES, yeah, VWAP. So I do think it'll reach there, but that could be a better point of interest to get involved, if anything. It's a tricky market today.
Yeah.
I tend to avoid inside days in general, and for ES, it is an inside day. So my recommendation for people is always, it's like when you're playing tug of war, right? When you have buyers and sellers above and below like that, you never know which way it wants to push towards immediately. Is it going to run for the top side? In ES's scenario, I don't think it's going to run the bottom of the wick just yet, obviously, but there is interest in kind of keeping it, somewhat balanced because of that.
Yep. Yep. No, I'm looking at the same. I'm looking at this overall as a bullish market.
Yeah.
Intraday, I try to stay pretty unbiased, but again, we just had every even yesterday, man, every sell off bought right back up.
Yeah.
If we look how yesterday again played out, we've seen a lot of that, right?
Yep.
This was pretty tricky until the afternoon when we really started to
Yeah.
run. But it just feels strong. Buyers don't want to let this thing move lower. I'm interested to see if we do get like a really gnarly down day, maybe this week or kind of before we run, or if we're gonna run at all. But yeah, I could see this as a so overnight session. That was pretty interesting right there. Overnight session, kind of
Yeah, that
drifting
was super
lower.
weird. I was actually in a short at that point when that happened, and I was like, "All right, I'm like, I had one runner left. I'm like, I'm set." and then it
Yep.
just deletes the move. I'm like,
Yeah,
in
dude.
one candle. Like, what was that? Dude, I'm over
Dude,
here like counting my money. I'm like, and then walk away with like $100 per account. Like, oh
uh,
my
it's crazy, dude. We get so many of these days.
yeah,
These just
yeah,
wild, like immediate increase in volatility, and then like it just kind of continued doing what it was doing right after, right? Like drifting lower,
yeah,
like
yeah.
take everybody out both ways, maybe, and then just keep on doing what it's doing. It's
The
funny.
worst part is when it does it a couple times where you're like, okay, let me
Mm,
try to re-enter, and then it pulls back one last time to view up, and like by that time I'm like, I give up because
yeah.
now the way I look at it, VIX has kind of died off. VIX is like under 20, which if anybody's unfamiliar, VIX is just a volatility index. If you're trading the S&P, if you're not familiar with options, I can understand why you maybe have never heard of it, but it basically refers to how much fear is in the market. With options, VIX affects the prices of options, means you can overpay for them. But the way we can use it for futures is understand that if it's a high VIX, over 20, over 25, when we saw that crazy sell off in April time, we saw VIX around 50, which I've never really ever seen, like for multiple days in a row. So I'm like, I'm buying everything I can, like with
Mm,
everything I got. And it worked out well because those things are statistically uncommon. So when you see something like that, it's a great opportunity to get involved. However, when VIX starts to die down, the overnight session starts to just get very, very, very thin, doesn't trade as volatile. And because of that, I call Asia and overnight trading the prohibited session at this point because there's so many fake outs that it's just not worth the 7 hours that it might take from you.
yep. Yep. No, I see you're that, man. It's interesting because I don't do too much of the fundamental stuff, so it's cool to get
Uh,
these takes, man. But do you usually trade Asia like you were trading it last night? Is that a session for you?
Yesterday I didn't trade it too much. I was trying to be off the charts. I did a bunch of stuff around the garage. I was in the pool and stuff, but I did see a setup, so I'm like, let me try this with just like pennies, right? I think I had 3 micros. It started to work, so it was good, but yeah, ever since the market started to just get very thin overnight, it's not worth trading because number one, the moves aren't as extreme as they used to be during let's just say March, April time. They were
Mm-hmm.
really, really crazy. So it was worth it to trade. But now it's like you just get a couple points and it's like takes you hours to do it. You can get 40 points or something. It's just not worth it. But when you get those overnight swings, absolutely. So it's like a matter of finding those early entries. But I'm with you there. Like the fundamental side of stuff, it can, the way I look at VIX is the way I was at least taught. Those are like market internals. So it's like taking the pulse of the market. Like, let me check its
Mm-hmm.
heart rate. Let me check its HRV. Those things. It tells you a little bit under the hood about it. But yeah, overall fundamentals they can fool you because anybody who's traded options, you get good earnings, and the market, the stock itself dies, and you're just like, what went wrong? And it's like that's the
Yeah.
point. You sell the news.
Yeah, dude, that's like that's my deal with it. I spent a lot of time in the past really trying to anticipate like what's the red folder news coming out, what's
Yeah.
forecast, what happened last time, what was the reaction, and I would do all my homework right, and like the last three events, and I would try to trade it right after it
Yep.
prints, and it would just completely do the opposite. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
here we go, man. So, but
Yep.
it's irrational. The market's gonna do whatever it wants to do. For
Very
me,
emotional for sure.
yeah, very, man. And it's like the way I look at it is it's a reaction based on people's perception of the
Mhm.
information, and that is so wildly emotional and unpredictable that uh, it's difficult to deal with. I'm watching this market try to pop towards prior day highs, so I don't mind like a counter to the initial move, kind of reversion trade.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind this off of the 55s, like a sweep of prior day high back towards VWAP. It's not something that I would hold to sell off all day. I could be dead wrong and we could just start to rip to the upside. But
Mhm.
I'm looking on ES. We got liquidity sitting right there, like 200 on the book. We got another 100 at the 60s, which could be a problem. We could crack right to the 60s. But I'm going to watch what happens up here, and I could see a short. One thing I'll note for the chat and everybody on here, we got red folder news. We got jolts at 10
Yeah.
a.m. So it's making for an interesting session here. This is the tough call. Like, I got to decide, do I want to try to run a trade before that and then make an executive decision trade management wise if I'm in a
Mhm.
trade, if I'm not stopped or take profit before that happens? It's tough, man. If you wait, sometimes, 30 minutes in, right? We get crazy news prints, and
Mhm.
then it just makes for a tough session. So I'm not a big fan of the 10 a.m. news. It's like my worst my worst enemy.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's, I have to be open, but yeah,
It's an
this
annoying time. You just had to wait 30 minutes. And I will say this, Jolts, it's like if you're positioned nicely ahead of it, that's great because
yeah.
Jolt can really do some damage in a good way if it works for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I see people, I had someone who showed me a trade and they got in 2 minutes before Jolts, and I go, oh yeah, that's a terrible, terrible time because it could just move so far and so fast, like right on that news
Yeah,
that
dude.
yeah, you'll end up upside down really, really, really quickly.
Yeah, man. I'll like my rule of thumb is I don't mind running into like anything outside of a really really high impact like news event. So if I have a really good setup that's beforehand, maybe with a belief that it will play out before the news, I wouldn't mind it. And I kind of just say, hey, you know what? It's going to be 50-50, rocket to my take profit, rocket to my stop.
Yep. Yep.
I'm probably going to get slipped a little bit if that happens, but it'll play out. I really do try to avoid like FOMC, like a Fed rate, Jerome
Mhm.
Powell speaking, unemployment claims,
Yeah.
NFP. Like I'm it's just a hard no for all of those. But Jolts, I mean, it is red folder. Like I would really
Yeah.
prefer not to, but if this one sets up, I'm gonna look for it.
I mean,
Look for it.
it's I'm with you there. I've held through exactly one NFP and one CPI, but it was from the night before and it was from like a technical extreme. So I'm like, this will probably work, and it did. But
Yeah.
that's also during the Trump time where, it's tariff this, tariff that. I noticed on the last couple of those announcements, like they were kind of muted. So I'm like, this should be okay. So,
Yeah.
but that's, that comes with experience. That comes with, because one thing you want to do is, let's just say CPI is really hot for a quarter, right? Like that's the news driver. That one's the one doing the damage. You might notice NFP kind of slacks,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see those trends kind of shift. It's not always the same. You might see it often where they sell off crazy on the news and then they get bought up. We just kind of look at it and we track it and see how it is in recent time, because there will be times where certain news releases matter way more than others. It's typically based on the macro narrative, not what's going on, but what they're saying.
Yep.
Oh, tariffs are bad. Tariff, tariff, tariff. Sell everything. Okay, cool. Now we understand like that's what they're focused on. So how do these news events correlate with that? And it's just a game of kind of understanding, like like you were saying, perception. It's perception of things, because ultimately, if we know that most people are going to struggle and lose money in the broader market, we got to understand things are being, they're essentially being groomed to lose. If you look at like the news or whatever it is, you're not getting the most insightful stuff. It's just what people are supposed to be told. And, this isn't even just my opinion. You can read books from Wyckoff or Jesse Livermore, and they talk about the stuff back in the 30s and 50s. And it's like, yeah, it's not new.
Yep.
Markets have always kind of been the same.
Yep. 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 Watching this starting to pop. Yeah. No, it's yeah. I will say these markets have been really interesting to trade. I think the most difficult thing on low time frames is just going to be the small knee jerk reactions to every little
Mhm.
comment that comes out, like the unexpected stuff. Trump makes a comment on tariffs, or somebody, China's violating its agreement, and we
Right.
just get that initial like knee jerk reaction that's enough on low time frames, at least for me on ES, to like quickly take you out. And then sometimes, kind of like last night where we were just looking at in that Asia session,
Yeah.
it really just kind of did that and then kept doing what it was doing, like kind of kept on, just nice slow drift to the downside. So it's yeah, it's interesting. Not much you could do outside of just structure risk, trade your system. I think that's the most important piece. Like whatever you're putting on for a stop loss, know it ahead of time. Be
Yeah.
comfortable with taking that really quickly, because that can happen at any point. And set your risk parameters, right? What do you want to risk for the day? What are you comfortable losing? Saying I put my good trades on and they just didn't work out, or I got I got smoked by headlines, twice in a row,
Right.
like immediately, and that's just that.
It is pretty interesting. I will say, looking at the 15 for both yesterday and today, the overnight session, it looks almost identical. It's very, very, very similar with how the dips were bought up. You have that
Mm-hmm.
aggressive move right into like the New York midnight time. Yeah, it's
Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
Again, like
there.
looking at the 15, it definitely feels like bulls don't want to let this thing move lower, at least up here as we started to
Mhm.
consolidate. Every every kind of just slow drift or even aggressive wick gets bought right back up. We've seen it kind of day in and day out. I don't want to carry the recency bias and say, well, that's going to start happening. So
Mm,
as soon as we start selling off, just hammer the buy button, hammer longs. But
yeah.
it is interesting up here, man. So
I mean,
uh,
it is an absolute tool, but you can't rely on it too much. I did the opposite when we were selling off in February. I was like, it's got to bounce at some point. Like, it's statistically unlikely to keep selling every single day, and it kept doing that. And I'm like, okay, I know what I did wrong. So the way I look on the upside, because
yeah.
for me, just a little background, I'm predominantly a bullish trader.
Mhm.
When you trade options, you're long in everything, especially just during the time that I came up. So I can see longs all the time. But weak market, I just didn't, my brain didn't correlate. I know how to trade a weak market. I don't know how to trade an extremely weak market.
Yep, just to
So
sell
that was
off
a learning curve
nonstop.
for me, because it's like, yeah, wake up and sell. But
Yeah, dude, it's interesting, especially if you spend a lot of time on the U.S. indices, right? Like we
mm,
know what these charts look like if you zoom way out, right?
yeah,
We know we kind of just drift higher. We have these shorter periods of recession or corrections, but and then when we come out of them, it's a really strong market. So to be in that like wake up and sell, look for shorts, break into the downside every day, it's
yeah.
definitely an interesting mindset to try to wrap your mind around. But
Yeah,
why?
I'll remember that market for a while, because it's like, I'm like, there's just genuinely no way every single day could be this week. And it's like, no, it is. So that's markets will always surprise you. That was something that I heard from one of my mentors in the beginning. He's like, it was talking about just when markets were cranking all-time highs. He's like, markets will never cease to amaze you. Like, you'll never be like, see, I knew that was going to happen every single day. There's
Yep.
always something new.
Always. Anything can happen, man. Very, very random on the short term. Chat, what's going on? I see you guys all saying good morning. What is happening, everybody? Appreciate you jumping on. You know the drill. Smash like, smash subscribe. We got Christian Williams, aka Decipher the Algo. I'll throw his banner back up if you want to follow him. Big on socials, right? Got his own community. I think runs a program himself.
Yeah, I work with some traders one on one. I really just try to fill in the gaps. I try to explain stuff ways in the way that, like, at least I would understand it, because when you first get into trading, a lot of people want to be like they want to sound smart. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care if I sound smart. I want people to understand what I'm saying. So, when you go on a lot of times on like the YouTube for longer form content, people they try to make stuff complicated when it doesn't need to be. Trading's already hard, so if we can talk in terms that everybody understands, that's my goal. That's always been my goal, and I do have a community. I stream in there pretty frequently. I have a free section. Pretty much all my
Nice.
streams are free at this point. You can just come in whenever. But yeah, I really enjoy working with traders, because honestly, at a certain point, once you've done this long enough, it's like it's boring. But it is cool to see those little aha moments with students, and honestly, it's a lot of people I know at this point too. They see
Awesome.
me over the years kind of get to where I am, and then they're like, okay, show me how to do it. I'm like, all right, I got you.
Yep. Yep. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, guys, we're so let's see, we're 9:53. We got about 6 minutes to red folder news. We got jolts coming out. I was waiting just on a trade idea. No trade so far. Waiting to
Yeah.
see maybe a sweep of prior day high right up around the 55s. We've got still quite a bit of liquidity on the book on bookmap up there. I wouldn't have minded that for a really aggressive short. Back down towards VWAP, kind of that simple reversion trade off the open. Now, again, less than 6 minutes to red folder. I'm
It's
not gonna
very
look to.
close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not.
wouldn't
So
be throwing no minis through it. That's for sure.
yeah, there you go.
I
Multiple
will, I
minis.
will, I will, I will indulge. I'll try a micro for the MES, but we'll
Yeah,
see. Looking at least for the downside. I do think the location, obviously, you have prior day high right above there. My hope is that the NQ prior day high is good enough, but we'll see. Because, obviously with correlations, one time or sometimes a market will run it on one, like NQ, and the other one doesn't. That
yep,
would be a divergence in that sense. It's not 100%, but those are reversal signals in themselves. But yeah, as far as the trade idea goes, it's just looking again for that reversion. I would think lower makes sense, but this isn't a high conviction idea. That's why you're throwing one or two micros at it.
yep,
But the thing is, if they do work with news, the probability of a big move, it's there. It's just not a high probability move as a whole. That's why I'm not like 15 micros in it.
yep. Hammer it or anything like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, these again, man, we got a lot of news. I think we got red folder every day this week, finishing up
Yeah.
with NFP Friday, right? Um, yeah, tricky to trade. We should get some movement out of these markets, so it could kind of kick things into gear. Sometimes if it's just no news for way too long, it just drifts. We get like choppy
Yeah.
consolidation, but we'll see. I got a feeling I got a feeling we're gonna go take that prior day high on this news, but
It's very likely that that does happen. It is very likely. I love when people get into a trade and then they're like, there's no way this can go wrong.
oh
If you get into
yeah,
a trade, you need to be like, I know why I'm about to get smoked.
yeah,
Because it's
exactly.
like, dude, it's gonna happen. If especially if you think it's not gonna, it'll actually reverse the odds and it will happen.
100%. No, I always kind of, I don't know, not to knock anybody or whatever. I think it's just kind of a sign of you either haven't been doing it long enough or you're
Yeah.
carrying some really like unhealthy way of thinking about the market when guys say like it has to do this or
Mm.
can't lose on this or like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
speaking with certainty. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't think you've been doing it for long enough because
Yeah.
we've all been there and we all have that thought like, oh, it's so obvious this has to happen. And then it just does the direct opposite. And it's
Yeah.
after that happens long enough, you go, all right, like I get it. I've been smoked enough. Like, so yeah, anything outside of, I know where I'll be stopped out if I have a,
Yeah.
a stop
Yeah.
outside of anything like that. I think this is going to happen. I think this might happen, that type of deal.
It's so funny. I feel like the trades I'm most confident in do not work. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is. I'm like, oh yeah, this is such an easy read. Immediate stop out in 5 candles. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah,
I'm like, I
dude,
didn't even
it's
think that was going to be difficult. Why was that so hard? And then trades where I'm like, I don't know about this, guys. I'll be on stream. Like, I don't know. I think the trade the system says take this short right here, and it's just an absolute banger. It's
yep,
like every single time, every single
yep.
time.
Market low. I don't know, man. It's I think sometimes when it is like it just feels that way, right? Maybe it just feels
Mm.
that way, but sometimes when it's just such an easy, obvious play, I
Yep.
don't know if it's everybody involved, the behind the scenes, but it's
Yeah.
like we're gonna do the direct opposite of that. Like yeah, we got them all, we're ready.
Yeah.
But no, you trade for long enough, and those moments I think can be like cathartic. They can teach you in a way that
Mm.
like, all right, I don't know what's gonna happen next. I can have a pretty good idea based on historical pattern recognition, whatever
Mm.
system I'm trading, and that can provide an edge over time. But right here, right now, on this specific trade, I have no idea what's going to happen. And anybody that tells you otherwise is just, again, either hasn't been trading long enough or carrying a really unhealthy, unhealthy view of the market. But it's interesting. But yeah, guys, we are about 2 minutes from red folder news. We got jolts coming out. We should get some volatility coming into these markets. I'm no trade so far. Was looking for a short off these highs. Not getting it yet. You guys know the drill. Smash like, smash subscribe. We do have a 50K account from Top 1 Futures to give away. If you don't know what you're looking at on my screen here, we are looking at Top 1 Futures on Project X. I've got 350K accounts loaded up right here. If you want to check them out, link is in the chat. I'll drop it again. Discount is 40% off right now. And yeah, man, pretty solid option from these guys, even after a rule change over the last couple weeks. But yeah, we got about 60 seconds. If you're in, I see Ralph says just got out of his position, made a couple hundred. Very nice. Ralph calling out again. 1 minute to red folder for sure. What is up, guys? What's up? We got a bunch of people on today. Welcome to the show. Let me throw this banner. Actually, we'll wait for this news to drop. I'll show you guys a couple banners. We got Christian on today. We got a whole bunch more later this week. I got Jen coming on. I got Rebecca coming on. Gonna be really fun. We got accounts to give away every damn day this week. Trying to make a nice fun start to this summer slowdown that we often get in June and July. But hopefully, I don't know. I don't know what these markets say. They've been
Yeah,
wild.
right.
I don't
Maybe
know that
it'll
we
be a
slow
hot
down.
summer. We'll see.
Yeah, like last year in August, it was like wild. I remember like we were like approaching price limits. I think we hit price limits. It was the first time that I'd seen it trading top step accounts. It's crazy, but yeah, here we go, guys. 10 seconds to red folder news. No trade. You running anything into this one, Christian?
Yeah, I'm short with the stop near highs. We'll
All
see
right. All
if I'm
right.
gonna break even it real quick. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Whatever. Yeah, so that's a stop right there for $50 or something. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
light.
I do think it's gonna move. Obviously now on news, but if I'm gonna just throw a dime at it, whatever. We'll see what happens. It's
Yeah,
not a
man.
big deal.
Super light. I like that. Super light, getting yourself involved.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like maybe that is the move for the day. It's like, okay, well then I just did nothing, and it's like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever. But
That's the tough part on news, right? Like if you get
yeah,
this huge structure that prints, you're like, okay, I waited half. We were talking about this right before we hopped on. Waited, a half hour. It prints a crazy candle, and now what do I do? I like,
right.
we're taking off to the moon. So, didn't go sweep prior day high. We did crack to the upside. Had some volume print on that one, but nothing too crazy.
Oh yeah, it's equalized. That's so weird.
Yeah, man.
Ugh. Oh, whatever. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
We'll see what we get. Choppy so far, right? I mean, opened up above VWAP, started to pop.
Yeah,
Looking at ES
yeah.
here.
Nasdaq just grinding higher too.
Yeah, looking at ES. Here's what we're looking at here so far, guys. On the 1 minute chart for the first 30 minutes of the session. Not a whole
Oh
lot.
wait, hold up. That's some. Hold up. I
Yeah,
need to see that.
yeah. Nasdaq
Oh
pushing
yeah,
highs.
micro ES just wrecked me. Then I would have been fine.
Oh, did MES do something
Yeah,
crazy?
micro ES wicked the highs. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Oh, look at
So I'm like,
that. Wow.
all
Wow. So
right.
that's interesting, man. Usually you don't see that much of a discrepancy between the
Yeah,
two.
it's very rare, I would say. But what?
Wow. Wow. So MES wicked about, what was the high right here? Yeah, wicked about 2 3/4 points, about 11 ticks. ES did not. Dang, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Wow, that's interesting, man. They are two different contracts.
Yep.
They trade
Yeah.
separately. Obviously, they're it's the same
Mm.
same underlying deal. It's extremely correlated, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
like
get
that's like the 0.1% where it happens.
oh
It'll normally be on data or at extremes. That's so. What's the
wow
difference?
yeah
Yeah, it's just funny to see sometimes. That's why a lot of times I will do all of my analysis on regular size contracts. I think that's good advice for everybody. Use the regular contract levels no matter what you're trading, because they tend to be more important.
hmm
Where like that wick right there might not be the same relevance of just a regular level.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, you usually don't see that. You
Yeah.
definitely usually do not see that type of discrepancy. But yeah, I agree. I've traded micros primarily. I came over to I'm on minis now. More zoomed in, like 10-point stop losses with a mini
Yeah.
or two. Just more aggressive. But yeah, I did notice because like I'll use ES bookmap, right? Not micros, and
Yeah.
I really prefer to watch volume on ES. It just seems like you said, just kind of more important, more reliable. And every once in a while, you get something like that on the micros that just kind of moves out of out of sync with
Mhm.
ES. So that was interesting, man.
I will say for the overnight session, anybody who ever trades that, you're definitely going to want to use the micros no matter your position sizing, just because a regular size contract does not move well overnight. It's very, very, very thin. It gaps a bunch. I think everybody uses the micros overnight.
Yeah.
Just comparing the two charts, you'll see one that has like all kinds of like spots in it or gaps between the candles, all crazy.
Yo. Yeah. So looking at scoping this trade out, I still don't mind this. It is counter, right? I could definitely get my face ripped off looking to short
Mhm.
this. We've got a level up here at prior day high that I like. Outside of it just being yesterday's high, I've tested a number of times if I zoom out on the 15 minutes. So I don't mind this. And we've got 173, it looks like, sitting on the book at here we go, pulling back off at 55. So if we come up and tap this on this initial push to the upside, I'm gonna run a short. I wouldn't mind getting short above that level really aggressively, not waiting for any. Oh, here we go, selling off. Not waiting for any confirmation. As I'm saying it, we're pulling back. I would run that back down towards VWAP. If we pull back like we are right
Yeah,
now, and
yeah, looks good.
yeah, if we pull back, test VWAP, and then come up, I'm not looking for it. But I think if we're gonna move higher, I think it would be unlikely that we don't come down and retest like the 940s, 935s on ES here. So I still am eyeballing this short.
Yeah, I do. I like the shorts at this point. I mean, the candles are so young with the 15-minute just starting that there's enough time for it to form a top wick and then flip. So like a lot can change within this period of time. It's the start of the hour, start of a 4-hour candle, start of an hourly candle.
Yep.
So it's worth considering. Obviously these are not super high risk trades that you want to be putting on in the sense of like, let me size up on this. But it's like if you can snipe something, there's enough range to make a comparable amount.
Let's take a quick look. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm gonna eyeball in this one. I think that might be it. That was an interesting wick right above this consolidation, then right back in. Yeah, we might be leaving that. I really do like to utilize bookmap. If we have a level like that real close that coincides with prior day high, which also coincides, we just zoomed out on the 15-minute, we got that tested. I like that for an aggressive play. I think we're likely to find some sellers stepping in there. I don't know that we just rip immediately 10 points higher after breaking that. We certainly can, right? We would be breaking out to the upside, but I don't mind fading that. It gives me a way usually to get in very aggressively as we start to pull back down, potentially drag stop into profit. That's kind of what I've been working on really aggressively, and played nicely yesterday on the live. Actually, I got short kind of on the way back up. Still ended up grabbing a couple points, like 4.5 points before we started to rip. But if we do sell off back to VWAP, it presents a nice trade. This is interesting. We got a lot stepping in at the 52s. Yeah, this might start to turn back. Well, we'll see. We will wait and see. Here, I'll show you guys on bookmap what I am looking at. Hang tight. Let's take a look at the old bookmap. This is my favorite order flow tool. I'm by no means the bookmap expert, the order flow expert, but I use it like a very simple idiot. And taking a look at these levels up here. Let me pull back up to it. Taking a look at these levels up here. Yeah, we got sellers getting involved down here aggressively. So we had this sitting on the book right at the 55s. This is prior day high. Prior day high on ES is 55.5. Yeah, here we go, pulling back. So that looked good. Maybe to come up here, grab this liquidity, and then start to drift lower. Pull back down to VWAP. Maybe we are going to push up higher. I'm not going to get short below that. I wouldn't mind a crack right into that fill, get short, stop loss, way up here. This was a little bit of a concern. We did have, I think this was like 100 the whole time. Yeah, 90 on the book up here.
Oh, this is looking good.
But yeah, here it is. It's happening. It's happening beforehand. So
I don't want to. I might be short. I don't want to.
Yeah, this
I might be short. We'll see.
Yeah, this is what we saw here. Just reading this. 955. All right, we look good. We're coming into it. We're pulling.
Oh, this is money. So I should probably be taking one off at VWAP. I'm short 615 for anybody interested. Just 2 micros on the NASDAQ back in my homeland. Yeah, realistically, if you're smart, you should be taking one off at VWAP. That's like a good estimate right there. Yeah,
this was the move I was waiting for. We just didn't get.
ES looks great.
There it is. Right back to VWAP. So yeah, man. Nice short, man. Again, we were both eyeballing the same thing here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I could break down the logic here. I guess I could pull up my shoot.
Yeah, if you want to try to share one, you can throw it up.
Yeah, I'll share this up.
Yeah, for me, chat, that's unfortunately going to be the trade idea. I've had a couple of these that have gotten really close. I know if I hop in early without a sweep or really the level that I'm looking at getting hit, it's just a FOMO in trade. But this is what I was looking at. Whether we're going to pop higher here, which I think we actually might, because this does.
It's very likely. Yeah, I mean, ES did sweep all those lows, so this could be a break-even trade. I do have a little bit of profit from from last night, so it's not the end of the world, but.
Let me see if I can't get this one on for you. Hang tight. There we go. Your screen's up live, Christian.
Awesome. So yeah, we're seeing if this is probably going to actually delete the move. We'll see. I don't like that we didn't come down all the way, past these lows right here. If we want to kind of compare the markets, we have, let's go right here. Pull up ES as well, just so we have a side by side. So looking here on the 5-minute with ES, yeah, you swept all of these lows. So that's a counter signal was what I would consider this. The fact that this swept the lows where NQ did not. My only I guess, saving grace would be if we hold this big displacement candle right here. Looking at that, that can act as like some sort of dynamic resistance. That'd be your fair value gap. In context, they can work pretty well, but just any big candle isn't going to help you. So the idea would be for this to at least test VWAP, where, again, if you're smart, you'd be taking one off. And then obviously we do have room to the downside below that. So I'll go ahead and show you what I'm looking at the 5-minute. Whenever you see a London expansion, that's kind of like my idea. Like, we're going to just dig into this. Where we end, I don't really care. But the idea is at least VWAP. So I'll probably take one off at 540, to be real.
Nice.
We'll see somewhere around here, right? Let's just say maybe 550.
Yep.
That's like the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. It's a pretty close test of VWAP on ES.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressive bounce. Like, we can still come through it, and we definitely have room to the downside. If this gets bought right back up and cracks these highs,
no harm, no foul, either way.
Yeah, you're good. You're risk-free trade. You're good to go, right?
Yeah. On looking at the regular size contract, VWAP's at like 522. So we're talking down here actually for VWAP. Jeez.
Yep. No, it's that's interesting. Yeah. NQ looking much more bullish, staying above VWAP.
Yeah, for sure. We had NQ sweep the highs. So my only hope is this kind of rounds out. And also, just a tip for anybody, if you're using Project X or Top One, you can always, if you have VWAP on your chart, I always like to just scrunch it all together so it calculates VWAP properly, and then I'll drop it back. Because I change timeframes a lot, so this thing will jump around because it's based on the amount of candles that's on the screen. But that's like a pretty quick pro tip for that.
100%. 100%. I forget to say that one often, but it's important to notice if you're on the low time frames and you're zoomed in, you really got to go back and forth.
Yeah, I have people on like the 15 second. They're like, "Wait, why is VWAP up above me now?" I'm like, that ain't VWAP. That's VWAP exactly. For the last 7 minutes.
Yeah,
no,
says wish they would fix that. I
yeah.
What's up, chat? Andrews SL touched him back. Ew, that wick.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Quinn, what's going on?
Look at that 5-minute ugly.
Yeah, man. We will check Instagram after the live for sure, man. My position. Yeah, guys. So we're watching this one. Christian got short. I did not. I was looking at this short off the 55s. Test of some liquidity up here. Prior day high. Looked good. Right back to VWAP.
Yeah.
This to me. We started to come back up. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's probably dead.
Yeah. We come back up on this. This is looking strong. This is looking like immediate buy off of VWAP, breakout to the upside.
Yeah.
It could definitely be choppy, but and I really don't have a long play on this now.
Yeah, location wise, a little tough for me to get long.
Yeah, this is tough.
See, I can only give it a couple pennies for break even. I normally do double whatever it is. So I have 2 contracts. I'll do $4 just so it's mathematically break even. But sometimes those extra pennies will save you.
Yeah.
We'll see how close we get to testing this.
Oh, let's see, man. Let's see it.
Yeah.
It's so funny to watch NQ on the 1 minute over or that's a 15 second.
Yeah, this is me just observing when it's going to stop me out.
Yep.
But yeah, the candles are crazy on this. It's better than nothing so far, but I don't trust this. I don't think it's going to hold.
Yeah, it's interesting. Bought right back up. Not too much down below. I'd like to find a way in long on this, but
yeah, above my stop. I mean, it just he formed a bottom wick on this 15-minute and said, "Just kidding, we're going back up." So tough.
Let's see. I'm watching bookmap over on the side, coming back up to these highs. Man, it's going to be interesting here.
This is the fun part, guys. You just sit and wait until something happens. There's literally nothing I can do that would make anything change. I mean, I guess technically I could take a trade off, but like I didn't enter a trade with $50 of risk to take $50 of profit. I entered it because I think it's going to go to at least a technical level. So that's typically how I look at it. If it was $50 profit down here, sure, but maybe if you look at this in terms of an invalidation, yeah, you do take it off. But typically, you want to get in a habit of taking stuff off either number one when it trails you out, or number two when it reaches your target. Because I have too many guys that tell me, "Man, I just take trades off and then it works." I'm like, I never take a trade off. I let it take itself off
Yep.
because I could be wrong. But if the chart
100%.
keeps moving, let the chart do its thing. You can have rules to trail.
Yep. Now for trade management, do you usually like to trail down, to trail yourself out,
Yeah,
take
yeah. I mean,
partials?
I like to kind of follow price, obviously, with my stop loss. Not too aggressively. It depends. When it starts to get real extreme, yeah, I will do prior bar low and stuff like that. But it would be nice for this to work because I'll give you an example. Every higher or lower high would be essentially a point where you can mitigate risk and kind of
Hmm.
just bring it and secure more profit. But yeah, this thing's flirting with the highs still.
Yeah, ES
There
is
you
looking
go.
strong, man.
Cool. Now we're done. And then one thing you want to do if you ever have partials set out there, flatten.
Yeah, get rid of
You're
that
gonna get filled randomly.
get rid of that limit for
Yeah.
sure. But nice, dude. Nice trade.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
short
we
all
took a
this
stab at
stuff.
it, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the 15 does look pretty bullish on ES. There's really not much you can do. The test of VWAP, yeah, I was hoping we'd at least get that on NQ, at
Hmm.
least, and then don't hope.
No, for
There's no
sure.
chance today.
Yeah, man, this is looking here. I'll come back to my screen here. This is looking strong on ES, man. We had that test of VWAP, bought right back up
Yeah,
to those
that's money.
highs. This was the this was the quick movement to the downside I was looking for. We just didn't get a sweep of that 55, that prior day high. But this looks strong, man. This looks like it might be. That's all we're gonna do to take everybody out that was getting long up here, and then now start to continue. I really don't have a play on this. I don't have a. I'm not trading a breakout with a stop below low right now
Yeah.
with this. It's just not my. It's just not my entry. It's not a setup for me. So I'm gonna be stuck waiting for now, which is cool. No missed trade. Very close. Trade idea looked pretty solid, right? On
Yeah,
another day,
yeah.
I think
It's
we
cooking.
and nice trade that you executed on. On another day, I think we wick 2 points higher, 8 ticks, and I get my entry. Just not today.
It's
So
a little bit of on brand for an inside day at this point where you see not real, like a lack of commitment either way,
yeah,
buyers or sellers. It kind of just puts around. Where if
yep,
you're a technical scalper, that's a great VWAP trade right there to get long. You have a signal bar back to the highs. That's fine.
yep,
That's just I think my biggest thing is when we do have range days, I'm not like we have a range day. Let me just trade the range because I could trade the range. I just don't ever think to trade the range. I'm looking for the bigger move down to, let's just say, dig into some of this stuff on London. But
yeah,
if you have the right framework going into the day, expectations really can save you from a lot of chop.
for sure. I think it's I think it's tough to be both types of traders, right? To be like a trader who's going to look for the extension, look for the movement outside of a range, but
Mm.
also at the same time, be a range trader. I think it's like,
Yeah.
and again, I'm kind of maybe I'm overgeneralizing, but I think guys do kill it as range traders.
Mm.
But you kind of got to be anticipating every day to be the range, and then
Yep.
and kill it when it's a range, and lose when we turn into a trend day, and vice versa. But yeah, it's when you get a really choppy consolidating just barcoding day, you go, man, why don't I just trade ranges? All I got to do
Yep.
is sell
Yep.
off the highs and buy off the lows, like a complete just basic, stop outside, and we're good to go. But yeah, it's hard to be both. I think it's very hard to be both because I
Yeah.
think you're trying to anticipate what it's going to be ahead of time rather than
Yep.
just executing as if here's what's going to play out, and I'm going to make money when I'm right and lose a little bit less when I'm wrong.
That's the reality of trading. Some of your strengths might be what holds you back. For me, I could be pretty rigid with like what I'm looking for. I don't like to flip flop all that much with bias, but I do have people that will say, I'll take a short or a long or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, didn't you see that great short that happened?" And it's like right at my target. I'm like, I got out of a trade 1 minute ago. Of
Yeah.
course, I didn't see the short. That was
Yep.
my target. My brain shut off at that point. I didn't see it. But there's traders who can kind of flip back and forth. They're like long and then short. I'm like, that's great for you. But for me, it's not. It's never my best trading when I'm like that.
Yeah, when we're flip flopping back and forth really aggressively. Yeah, so I'm watching this. I'm watching ES just traded up to prior day high. We got a lot at 60. So just using bookmap for this one. And anybody who reads the DOM can start to see this. This has stayed on the book. Sell orders at 55, 55 and a half. We got the 60s, 59, 60 that have about 150 on the book. After that, we got a little bit right above, but it really drops off until we get all the way back up to like the 80s. We got a little bit coming on 70. This could get dicey. I'm trying to make a case for me to attempt this short again because I just don't have a long play, and it starts to beg the question. Well, I'm going to sit here and watch the market all day and not have not have any opportunity. So if there is an opportunity for something, it could be coming up now. Yeah, man, it's also pretty negative cumulative on delta, which I don't use too heavily, but starting to pay more attention to. That's looking okay. Seller stepping in again off this high. Yeah, this is interesting. We're getting ready to get IB high and low as well. This is interesting. I'm still interested in a short up here. It is counter to this initial movement. I don't like it nearly as much after this wick down to VWAP and then bought right back up. But it's really the only play that I have. Short play, I'm going to say around the 60s. We'd have to crack this 55, fill what we have all the way up to the 60s. I'd throw a stop at 70. We don't have too much all the way up that way. Where I think it's just going to break out and run to 6,000, although it can, and I think it's a good inflection point, right? Like if I'm wrong and we don't get a reversion back towards VWAP, kind of chop back around, and we continue with a lot of strength, I think we're going to run. I think we got potential to turn this into a nice big bullish day.
I mean, the daily does have that room to the upside. It's just a matter of if it's going to do it right now.
Yep.
One thing I'm always looking at is like, obviously we have that daily wick, on both indices. Yeah, the 6,000 area. My thing is like, I'm like, oh, that's such an obvious target. And then my brain's like, oh, it has to happen like really, really soon. And it's like, no, it could take a little bit of time. It could take a week. I had someone yesterday. They're like, do you think this is going to happen this week? And I'm like, maybe it could wait. Like it doesn't have to. If there's more indications, then we can build a case for it to be more probable for it to happen. But, as it currently stands, it's bit of like you said, bit of a tricky spot.
Yep. I'm gonna watch what happens if we turn from here. I still don't have a trade. We just tested the 55s, but we didn't even fill everything that's up here. I don't have a short off of this, so we sell off. Still not a missed opportunity, just not getting what I need. We crack to the upside. I want to see what happens in the next 5 points above this this prior day high. Look for a short. It's pretty aggressive. It's definitely counter to this movement coming into the open, this getting bought back up off of VWAP, but pretty cheap trade as far as clean and validation point, where if we go and rip, 15, 20 points higher, I think I'm dead wrong and we are going to start to blast off. And I'd prefer to be dead wrong than, maybe wicked out and turn, or, the continuation on something like this. I think, if you were going to take it long, you got to run a wide stop. You want to come all the way down below VWAP, right? Because does it invalidate the trade? Starts to beg that question. Like, here's my issue with something like this. If we do that, would we be would we be mad that we got stopped at the 43s? Yeah, I'd go, well, look at that, clean structure to the upside. So what would really invalidate it would have to be, something like way down here, right? And then you say, okay, well, we're not going to wait for a huge push to the downside before a turn. But let's see what we get. Chat, what's going on, man? Great session so far. I'm No Trade, Christian's Green. We are hanging out watching these wild markets. We got an account to give away. Not doing it just yet. Go ahead, smash like, smash subscribe. You know the drill. Once we do drop that, it is going to, we are going to have to get some likes up. I'm going to show you this tab real quick. We have a bunch of special guests on. Again, guys, we got Christian Williams on the stream today. Appreciate him coming on. Check out his socials, Decipher the Algo, right across IG, YouTube, and Twitter as well, right?
Yeah, I'm on everything with the same handle. A little bit of TikTok. I think that's my least favorite platform, though, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I like Instagram. Instagram's fun.
No TikTok for me. That's the only one I stay off of. We got Jen coming on tomorrow. We got Rebecca coming on Thursday. We have accounts to give away every day on the stream. It is, where's the tab for this? Funded Frenzy Week, which, like I said yesterday, dumbass name, but that's the best I could come up with. Shout out Top One Futures. Again, if you guys want to check them out, link is in the chat. It's pinned. They are an instant funded futures prop firm on Project X. Running a 40% off deal right now with no daily loss limit. That's what they got rolling. Let's see. We're gonna break these highs, man. What are we doing here, ES? What are we doing? Chat, what do you think? I see you guys. Nobody trading YM right now. Ralph's long bias. Happy Tuesday. What's up? Yes, I wish they would fix the scroll in and out on the VWAP as well. I think that's what we're talking about. Chat, what do you think? We headed to the moon here. You guys long bias. We looking at shorts. You think we're gonna fake out and just pull right back down to VWAP? Where's your head at on this one? I'm interested to hear. Let's see. Quinn's gold longs and practice account swept lows. Okay. Yeah, man, this is interesting. We're sitting right below so much liquidity. I don't know, man. I'm gonna watch it happen. I don't like the short nearly as much as before we pulled this move. I'm still gonna look at it. I'm probably going to give it a second up towards the 60s, see what happens. But we got 100 at 970, 100 at 980, and then a couple stacks at 6,000. So we could break and run. I don't know, man. I don't know that we do today. Let's see. Chat says, I'm in short. Probably be going to the moon. that's
You know what? It was relatable.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on? That's someone we met in Tampa as well. Watching NQ head back to high of day at 650. Yeah, interesting. Gonna have to watch this one. Here we go.
There's a push right there. Yes.
All right, we're getting the push. We filled what was at 55. Do we crack up towards the 60s? Let's see. Again, I'm still eyeballing a short. I'm probably gonna run this one with like half risk for me. I think this is something I'm gonna run with one mini, like $500 worth of risk. Get it to 65. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait just to see if we get a little bit more of a push out of this bad boy. Or do we just start the slow grind higher here on ES?
Right, that's a very, very real possibility.
Is NQ breaking to the upside on this one?
No, not yet. It's still lagging at this point. So it's now 2 consecutive pushes higher on ES where NQ has not done the same. A little bit of that divergence going on. So we'll see. It'd be nice to see if ES starts to fade after reaching higher a little bit, but obviously there's nothing you can do to control that. We just got to kind of keep an eye on how price is responding to highs.
Yep. Getting some hesitation up here. I'm real tempted on the shorts. Just want to watch to see if buyers start to step in and drive this thing higher. There we go. Cracking a little bit. I'm going to wait for these 60s. Ooh, no, we got sellers stepping in here. Let's take a look. I'm trying to do my best to read order flow in the simple way that I do. Which can be a little bit dicey if you get too zoomed in on it. Let's see here. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of momentum and volume as we started to crack that, but we are still continuing higher. Yep, I'm gonna wait for the 60s and take a look at a potential short. Again, I don't know that we don't just continue higher, but I think it would give me a pretty aggressive entry. Nice. Let's see.
Order filled.
I'm gonna take a short from down here.
I was tripping out for a second. Like, wait, what'd I do?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna take a short from down here. What I'm looking at is like half risk. I'm usually trading two minis on this one. With about a 10-point stop. That would be up at the 66.5. We continue a lot higher on this one. Here we go, cracking towards the 60s. We continue a lot higher on this one. I'm going to be out for $500. Again, counter to this initial movement as we start to break these highs. But been watching this level, a lot of liquidity here. Interesting level looking at like the 15-minute zoomed out. It's not just prior day high. It's an area where we've had a lot of reaction from. So I do like it as an inflection point. We did pull back really aggressively looking at the 15-minute. We're starting to break. We did have that test of VWAP, but I would like this to be a reaction that allows me a way to structure risk back down. It's something I would trail really, really aggressively and, you know, get stopped for small profit or for a larger move to the downside. But again, counter to this movement, counter still above VWAP. But that's kind of the only setup that I see on this bad boy. Again, I'm fading this move to the upside, so we'll see how this plays for me today. But getting long on this, I think I'd have to have a stop where my take profit is, like down in like the 920s, 930s.
Really.
Really, you know, because if the thesis is, hey, we're gonna run the highs, right, and we're just gonna break out and run to 6,000. You know, can we come down here first and kind of dance around below VWAP and then continue into the afternoon? Sure, right? So, you know, I don't want to stop right here, saying I've got to catch the breakout. For a reversal here, or for a continuation at least back down to go dance around and test VWAP, I'm okay with this. We got it at the 60s, so I could see a crack towards the 60s, maybe 61, 62. We don't turn to the downside from there. We continue higher through the 966 and a quarter, where my 10-point stop is. I think I'm wrong, and I think we're going to continue higher. We're going to go see the 70s, and if we get past that, potentially really turn this into a big bullish day. So
it's like what people can hear there is you have a lot of room for trades to work. You know, you give it the space for it to develop. You give it the space to prove itself, instead of it just being like, this has to move 7 candles in a row to my target or else. Yep. So that's a really important note, because a lot of people are like, hey, how can I risk more, instead of like, how can I allow more structure to prove me right or prove me wrong? It's not about the dollars, it's about the range you have. You know, yep. If you have a very narrow stop, you need to be right like very immediately. Otherwise, it would get wicked out.
Yep.
There's no rhyme or reason to it sometimes.
Yep. Especially if you're trading something like NQ, man. I think most guys could just size down. If most guys size down and widened up a little bit, they would avoid some of those instances where they're right and they get wicked out and it continues in a direction, right? And I think that's just a frustrating situation to be in, right? Like if I'm wrong, I like to be dead wrong. I like to get, I would prefer, you know, if I'm wrong, like example in this trade, I want to see this bad boy run. I want to be dead wrong on it and say, gave it the good shot. It's just absolutely, you know, not in store for any type of pullback. Bulls are in. We're not going to reject off of this level. You know, we don't need to go and retest VWAP, anything like that.
Makes it easier to go touch grass after that. You know, you're like completely wrong. You're like, I don't even want to look at this anymore. For sure. It would be like, well, maybe it could have worked if I was a little more, you know, not as conservative.
If I just, if my stop was, you know, a couple points wider, you know, that type of deal. So we'll see how this one plays. But chat.
I mean, I like the area. I do feel like looking at the 15-minute structure. You know, typically when you see a big move like that overnight into London, it's more likely to pull back than it isn't. It's just a matter of whether or not it's actually going to do so. Like it keeps trying. Yeah, so it's not letting go yet.
Yeah, we got somewhat of a reaction here. Again, I got a pretty mechanical way nowadays to manage my trades. I'm going to be stop into profit right around the 50s if we come down to this middle ground. It's helpful, I think, on these somewhat aggressive counter trades. That if we start to move aggressively into profit, I'm going to trail behind it and then either stop for small profit, let this bad boy run. If it turns and comes back, you know, I don't want to be short or long on it, depending on the direction I'm trading. It is choking up on it really aggressively once it starts to move in your favor, but that's kind of the thought process, right? Enter at a really aggressive level, let it do what it's going to do. You're probably not going to top tick it. Once it continues in your direction, you know, trail into that pretty aggressively.
I find it funny too that you mentioned top tick. There's a lot of guys that they obsess about wanting the like absolute top tick of an entry, and I'm like, why? You have zero idea of whether or not that's going to be a top or not. You have there's literally nothing on the chart unless you have like someone calling you and telling you, "Hey, it's 6:30 is the high of day." It's just it's not going to be the case.
It's not going to happen. So no, I think that's really important. Letting go of that need to like to get the absolute most out of the move, right? Like I think that's a good saying. Our job as traders is not to catch the entire move. It's not to catch every point or every tick. It's just to catch enough of it, right? Small, small portion of whatever move you're trying to trade, and be happy with that, right? Get in, get out, get paid. That that take profit saying. I like that one, and define whatever that means for you. You can always size up. You can always put more size on, more risk on, and make that small movement worth it. But trying to like time the market, I think it's an ego thing, man. I think it's more
really
like like we want the picture, right? And everybody wants the picture. Like I top ticket or whatever, or got close, sold the bottom, or bought the bottom or sold the high. But
don't get me wrong. Do it long enough. There will be moments where you do it, but you're not doing it every time. And if you try to do it every time, you ain't doing it ever. There's times where you'll be pretty spot on, but it's very rare. Those are Hall of Fame moments, and you don't have those every game. It just is what it is.
100%. It's definitely not every game, and if you shoot for that, I think you sell yourself short. You shoot yourself in the foot. You could have so many more of these just more modest, calm, like I'm not the genius. I got a little bit of the move. I'm happy to go. And if you can do that with some consistency, you can make great money. Like it doesn't always have to be, I picked the top or the bottom. I didn't take on any heat, right? I don't need to run any stop loss, that type of deal.
The upset people are like, I say that sometimes. I'm like, are you afraid of taking a stop loss? Like, why do you need to risk 1 to make 25? Are you never right? Like, you should be able to just risk a little bit. Or I guess the balance is like, if I ever go for like high risk reward, quote unquote, I'm not using any any amount of size. It's very little because I'm like, okay, I can understand that the move it's there. It could happen. However, I'm not like, it's not going to be the bulk of my profits. It's just something that I can see on the chart. So that in that sense, like, yeah, you can nibble at something, but the bread and butter of your trading should be pretty like base hit, like 1, 2, that range. Realize our multiple. It's not going to be 20-yard trades. I've had some 20-yard trades. They don't normally happen like I'm calculating it. It's just what I'm like, oh, this looks like it's moving a little bit. Let me just kind of give it some room to run. But I'm never like, I need to make 20-yard, otherwise I can't have dinner. Like that's not the thought process.
Yeah, and I talk about it a lot because I think coming into trading really early on, we're taught so much. Your winners have to be twice as big as your losers. You have to if you make 3 times as much when you win versus when you lose, you only have to win so much. And if you get stuck on that, man, you can start to generate this really high risk to reward, really low win rate system that becomes a freaking nightmare to trade. So
it's terrible.
Dude. And if you do trade that, you should be going really low risk, right? You want to have plenty of room for those gnarly losing streaks. So I think most guys would do much better. And again, just like as we're talking, I have automatic risk brackets set on this thing. This is not a hard take profit. I'm going to trail. I can take this off for all means. But honestly, the only reason I don't really run a fixed take profit, only reason I started to put anything out there is like Trump sneezes and all of a sudden the market rips. Yeah. I'd like to be out if we moved. If we moved 30 points in the direction of my trade, like I'd be okay with that. So. But yeah, man, I really try not to pay too much attention to it, right? I go for really modest, closer to a 1-to-1, kind of a different, more aggressive trailing into profit approach that I've been running, kind of forward testing, just getting more mechanical in that aspect. But yeah, if you hyper focus on risk to reward, especially a really high one, I think it can become, you're making the game way harder than it has to be, harder than it has to be. Certainly on your mindset, it becomes so difficult to trade those low win rate systems, like really, really hard to stick through it.
Because especially, it's like, yes, losing's terrible, but also your ability to read price while you're losing, it also is terrible. You lose 7 trades in a row with your 30% win rate. Like realistically, people don't realize that. They're like, oh, I can have a 30% win rate. Yeah, at your best, That's that's going to be your average win rate. You can definitely lose 14 trades in a row with a 30% win rate with a big enough data set. Like, it's possible. And you're probably going to make that even worse because you're going to be reading price backwards. You're going to be thinking, oh, well, now I just need a 55R trade and then I'm back to break even. Why do you want to be back to break even? I thought the goal is to make money. So
Yeah.
you should be looking to compound something daily. Yeah, there's a million reasons to get compulsive when you're trading. It's like, try to avoid all of them because
Yep.
that's not the right part of the brain that should be talking when you're trading. It should be just your analysis going on.
100%. That's the sauce right there, man. The numbers matter, but it does come down to a practicality, right? Like we got to look at win rate, risk to reward, maybe some expectancy, just our averages, right? And we should have some edge, but is it practical to trade, right? And I think there's an argument to be made. You could probably come up with some strategy, right? You could find some edge in like a 10-to-1 risk to reward, super low win rate strategy. Is anyone under the sun able to have the confidence to trade that through like the insane win streaks, losing streaks that you would see, and the minute win streaks? Probably not. So again, it could be an ego thing for risk to reward. It can be just a misunderstanding that you don't have to have some insanely huge swing on risk to reward and win rate. But I think if most guys came back towards that middle ground, try to get a little bit over 50% win, try to get maybe just a hair over a 1-to-1 on average, or some combination that's close, you generate a nice smooth equity curve. You can really tell when things are working and not working. You don't have to go on insane losing streaks and hold your breath through, 10 losses. Otherwise, otherwise you're switching or doing something different. But
people are afraid to use their drawdown, on their account. They're afraid to use the risk that whether it's a funded account, there really should be no hesitation to have a stop. You can have a wider stop and it might not get hit, instead of having a super narrow stop that will get hit twice, 3 times, 4 times. But yeah, I put up a chart about that a while ago where it's like 7-10R little brackets on a chart, and then it's like the one that works, and it's like, see, because they don't show you any of that stuff where they took 10 losses in a row just to get 1 10R trade.
Yep.
Okay, like so yeah, withdraw that then. You know what I mean? It's just it's nothing. It's nothing.
100%. So yeah, guys, chat. We're hanging out on here. I'm gonna say it's not time for the giveaway just yet, but you guys know what you need to do. We got 71 people on here. We got 53 likes so far. We asked for 100. Asked for 100 yesterday. We got over 100. That's pretty solid. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you today, guys. We're in a trade. We're hanging out. We're going a little bit long. Smash the like button. I'm going to set the goal at 80. We get to 80. We are dropping a form to fill out for a straight to funded, instant funded 50K account with Top One. Giveaway. Someone's going to get it on the live right here. So it's giveaway time, guys. Smash that like button. We get up to 80. We will drop the form. Let me throw a little graphic up here just so you guys know the drill. Love doing these. Nice. It is giveaway time. Once we get to 80 likes, form will drop in the chat. Nobody freak out. Don't fill it out more than one time. You guys have been so good with it. Nobody's spammed it. We got such a good community going here. I'll give you guys a few minutes. Once it drops, everybody gets it filled out. Random number selector comes up. We'll pick someone live on stream. But in the meantime, while we're waiting, we're going to watch the market. I am still in a trade here, dancing around my entry. Again, I'm pretty mechanical nowadays with these, so there's really nothing for me to do outside of dragging into profit into cracking below the 50s. So it's either going to be a full stop for $500, which is half risk. This is just too aggressive to be jumping in and not really allowing myself some more trades today if this one fails. But we sell off into profit. We approach that, halfway to a 1-to-1. I'm dragging into profit right behind it, a couple points behind, and letting it run, the whole thing. No scaling out. So we'll see. We'll see what we get out of this one. AD, listen, man. There's 250 people that have cycled on and off this live. AD says, if there's only 70, how can we get to 80 likes? Guess what? There's 81 people on here, and there was already 60 likes. So if all of you hit the button right now, you're only 5 away. If all of you hit the button right now, we would be there in about 10 seconds. But there's plenty of people that hop on and off. I'm asking you guys for likes. That's your only job here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hit the like button. You can hang out. Free means free. If you're new, just so you know, I stream on here almost every damn day on YouTube, 100% free. I run a 100% free trading Discord. I've been trading for about 6 years, been in the markets for about 6 years, but I don't claim to be the best trader. I don't claim to know it all, have some magic strategy. I actually don't claim anything. No crazy payout numbers or insane P&Ls or leaderboards. But what I do is show you what real trading looks like for me. Wins, losses, break-evens, run-ups and payouts, and lost accounts, right? The triumphs and the heartbreaks, free. For you guys on here. So feel free to hop on. Feel free to subscribe. You can hop on and say, that guy sucks. I don't know why he's short. I'm going to fade him. We're going to go test those 66s. And you can make money, man. That's what we're here for. No, of course, not a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. But here we are, guys. 79 likes. Getting ready to drop the form. Let me get it ready for you guys. And we will get somebody funded with a 50K. Keith won it yesterday. Congrats, Keith. We have one to give away every damn day this week. Happy to do it. Let's see what we can get going here. Boom. All right, guys. Form is ready. Let's see. Can we hit it? 79. You're one away. You guys are really making it. You're making yourself sweat. There's 80 people on here. Hit the like button. Let's see. There we go. 80. I can see it. All right, guys. Form's going to drop after I pour myself a water. 81 likes. Very nice. Form is getting ready to drop right here in the chat. Boom. There it is, guys. It's giveaway time. While I'm sitting through this market, continuing to push higher, maybe going to test these 60s. Let me throw this up on the screen. It's giveaway time. Form is in the chat. It is pinned. Go ahead and fill it out. Do me a favor. Don't fill it out more than one time. Don't spam it. Don't use 4 different emails. These come directly from Top 1 to the email that you provide. You can only have one account with one email with Top 1. You're just going to do yourself a disservice if you do it. So everybody's been playing so nice. I really appreciate you guys doing that. Fill it out. You got about, I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes. We're going to get this done quick. Let's say 10:52. Form ends at 10:52. Stay on the live if you do fill it out so you can be here to claim it if you win. I asked for your username. You guys got a shot of winning a 50K instant funded account from Top 1 Futures. No eval, no activation fee. Hype to get to do these ones for you guys. So appreciate you being on here. Get that form filled out. And while we are hanging, let me pop back over to my screen. Show you guys the trade I'm sitting in short from 59, 56, 25. Started to get a reaction here. Not a bad movement, right? We came about, looking at measured movements, we came about 7.5 points off that high. Not a bad pullback. It was more aggressive than this little reaction that we had. Definitely not what we saw right here, which was 15.25 points. But still pushing. Looks like we want to go check out the 60s. This could be the pop where we start to take off. Definitely not reacting off a prior day high just yet. Again, the way that I'm managing these trades, nothing for me to do. I like this one from the beginning, right? Testing prior day high. Liquidity above. Waited for that to get filled. Came back down. After getting close to the 60s, got short. 10-point stop. No fixed take profit, although this is down here. I'd be looking to drag into profit if we started to come off. We continue the upside. We start grinding higher. I think I'm dead wrong. I think we continue to push. Christian, man, you seeing anything on your chart? I could throw yours up if.
Yeah, that's. We could go over this one. I have a trading view chart up that we can kind of talk about. Just because I want to just share some stuff with you guys. I think this is a really, really, really powerful chart to have. It just basically what it is I have an indicator. You just find it for free, right here. This one. It lets you have multiple time frames. Everybody that I show this, they're like, "How do you do this?" This is perfect if you're on your phone as well. You can literally have a couple different time frames right here. And then it only shows the time frames that are bigger than what you're on. So what I see here is obviously we've seen quite the move off of these lows from both NASDAQ and ES. The idea is that we do reject here, but we're not seeing anything just yet. Over on the lower time frames, it's just ranging, kind of going back and forth. I do see, obviously, we have this initial balance right here, and then we have it's kind of holding it so far. It's not what I love to see, but then with NASDAQ, it's just still in that box. So typically, like we are saying earlier with ranges, like if you're a super scalper today, you're making money. For me, I was just looking at my executions, and um, out of every execution I've taken, it's just like 10, 20, $30, like just break evens because I'm looking for that push. It's counter trend, and I'm doing it with pennies. Of course, I could do it the opposite where I have a bigger range, but even I had one stop, and I was looking at this. It was through jolts, and I actually had positive slippage, which was nice. Instead of losing $60, I only lost $30. I don't know why that happens, but it's happened a couple times to me on
Nice.
the news. I love it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at so far. So I've made money today, but it's like pennies at a time.
Yeah,
So not my
that's
not
cool.
my normal type of trading that I enjoy. I like seeing these moves start to develop, being able to add into a position. But right now, yeah, we just got to give it room to work. Probably some stuff under the hood, with bookmap and things of that nature that are going to be playing a factor. But yeah, as it stands right now, it's that grind.
Yep, slow grind higher, man. Yeah. So we got the chat asking. People are interested in this one. What's the name of the indicator? How do they
Yeah,
find it?
yeah. So you'll go into you hit your little slash button on Trading View. You type in ICT candles, and it's by our friend right here, Fatty. I don't know who that is. I think he's on Twitter or X, but it's free, and it just shows you the different candles. You do a bunch of different stuff, so you can change the settings on it where it gives you the different time frames, and you can set it to whatever candles you want. It's super, super convenient. Um,
Very cool.
yeah. So let me see. Where did I do this?
So we're
Is it this
looking
one?
at we're looking at your main side by side ES and NQ trading view right now.
Okay. Okay.
Christian. Yep.
Oh, let's see. Oh, it's that one. Okay. I was like, which
There you
chart
go.
is this? Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, right here. You basically ICT
There you go.
everything, or I'm sorry, ICT candles right here, Fatty.
There you go,
I
guys.
have three of these up, so I was on the wrong one. So basically, you can adjust the different time frames, and it shows the ones above you or below you. So, look at the 15-minute. You see super extended so far, but we need to see something happen in this box up here. Like we need to see something start to develop. Until then, it's like if you're EST trader, maybe you're able to catch some of this. I'm in California, so I'm stuck with the table scraps at the open. But yeah, I do recommend this indicator for anybody. It's super convenient. It makes your charting a lot more simple. Makes it a lot more simple to kind of just consolidate this. And you can adjust the amount of candles too. You don't have to have 20 daily candles. You could have one daily candle if you want.
It's interesting, man. It's really interesting to see. So
Yeah, I think everybody I've shown this to, they're like, okay, that's awesome. Because
yeah,
you got to understand, if we move higher in the first part of a candlestick, that might be the wick. Or if vice versa, if we move lower, like we saw on this daily, that might be the wick for the day where we trade higher the rest. These are like you can observe this, and it's just a different type of analysis. It's not obviously nothing's 100%, but I do like looking at that. If I see a big push on a candle early on, it might be the wick. It might be the wick, but obviously, I would like to see this maybe close more like a doji. But we'll just see how it goes.
yep. Awesome, man. No, that's really cool. That's a really cool piece. You guys want to check that out? Somebody quoted the name of it in the chat, so you guys got that. But yeah, check out Christian on socials, Decipher the Algo. Really, really cool stuff, man. Yeah, I like looking at the dailies, so that overlay is really cool, man. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
I
it'll
see you
be
guys.
it'll be nice to see what people do with the API access with Project X. Maybe get some indicators in there as well.
That's what I'm waiting on, man. I'm waiting for that to open up. I think that's going to be really cool. I mean, it's opened up. I'm waiting for people to start building on it. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be really cool to watch. For those of you that don't know, Top One Futures is on Project X, the platform that we all know and love. They opened up API access, and now everybody has the ability to start building on that, which is really, really cool. I think we're going to see some risk parameters. We'll probably see some different indicators, a lot more stuff available out of that. Copy trading, maybe across accounts with stuff like Trade Syncer. So that'll be pretty sweet. But I see we got a handful of people asking in the chat. Guys, the giveaway form, let me share that one again. Hang tight. Giveaway is live. Let me throw back to... Giveaway is live right now. You guys got a couple minutes to get this one filled out. This is for a Top One Futures 50K account. somebody's going to get funded right here, right now. So it's a new form every day, because we're giving away a 50K account every single day. And there's a bonus this week, which I forgot to say today. If you fill out every form, if you fill out one every single day, on Friday, we got an additional cash giveaway. We're going to do a bonus cash giveaway for those of you that filled out every single form. But if you hop on to any live session, you fill the form out, you got a chance to win. There's one live right now, pinned to the top of the chat. You guys got about, I'm going to give you another minute. I'm going to give you another minute to get this one filled out. We got a bunch of responses that have rolled in. You guys will drop your lucky numbers. Let me get the random number generator set up. While I'm doing all this, I'm really challenging myself to actually be able to trade while we're doing this. So I'm sitting in this trade. It's moving against me. I think I'm going to hear the order filled to the upside coming up pretty soon, unfortunately. Went and filled the 60s, and we're climbing to the 63 and a quarter right now, getting close to that stop. All good. Fairly low risk. Didn't get the reaction that I wanted off of that level. This looks like we might start to slowly grind, man. Go check out the 70s. Potentially higher. But I'm going to let that one play out. We've got the form live. We have random number generator getting loaded up right here. Let's see. We got about 76 responses. Let's see. All right, guys, 60 seconds before the form ends. I don't see any more rolling in right now. If you hopped on late, the giveaway is live right now, pinned to the top of the chat. Chat, let me know what you think your random lucky number is. I'm probably gonna have to do that coming up soon, because I think it would be really funny if you picked your own number and you actually won the giveaway. I'll have to do some kind of crazy bonus. That'll be really fun. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think the numbers that's coming out? Where's your lucky number? Yesterday was 60. I think yesterday was number 60. On Friday, it was 7. So we've been all over the map. I do make it random. People that are in the Discord that hop on here one time, you all got a fair chance, whether you won before, you didn't win before, whatever it is. Random number generator. I even take screenshots just in case you guys come back and yell at me. Here we go. We got some last minute people hopping in under the gun. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Close responses. Let's get the drum roll rolling. The giveaway is going to be we got 78 responses, so we're going to go between number 2 and 79. Let me just get this form opened. Shout out Top 1 Futures. If you guys want to check this out, code RDF. If you don't win today, if you want to take advantage of that 40% off, you could check that out. If you want to support Christian Decipher the Algo, what's the code, Christian? Tell the people.
You can use code DTA pretty much anywhere. No, I'm just kidding. We're Top 1.
All right, man. We got this loaded up. Chat, get ready. Let's see what we got. We got a bunch of random lucky numbers in there. Somebody said they don't know. Let's take a look. All right, random number generator is in there. We got another high one, 67. Random number is out, number 67. Let's see who we got. Quick look to make sure. Yeah, I got too many people nowadays, so if you spammed it and I give it to you and I come back and you didn't win, it's going to go to somebody else, so I can't check it all that quickly. So we have a winner. I can't pronounce your first name. Let's see. What's the user? YouTube username is Andrew. Andrew, you win the account. It is YouTube username Andrew12324. You are the winner of the account. I cannot pronounce your first name. It's ASRUNNISA. Congratulations. You are the winner of a 50K straight to funded account with Top 1 Futures. You will get an email straight from those guys. Chat, give them the congrats. Give them the congrats. Let them know. Andrew, if you're here, let me know, man. Say what's up. Congratulations. You are the winner. There's the there's the win. Let's come back over to my trade. I think almost in time to see a stop out here, guys. Hold on.
Yeah, it's gotta be close. I mean, this thing's been persistent. It's wild.
There we go. Yeah, we're gonna open it back up. Congrats, Andrew. We got W's in the chat for Andrew. I think we're gonna get an L in the chat for me, but that's okay. I've been racking up some green trades on these lives with you guys. I was about due for an L. Yeah, man, we came up and filled. Let me just take a look at bookmap. I'll show you guys bookmap on this one as well. Show what I was looking at on this one.
Just vertical. If you're looking at the hourly, it's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting the pop here. So watched these 60s fill after the 55s right here that stayed on the book for quite a while. Liked this for a reaction, right, to the downside. We did start to get it right here. Oh, am I showing the screen? Oh, I'm not showing it. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, we're still pushing the upside. But yeah, looking at bookmap, my favorite order flow tool. Liked this to come and grab liquidity to the upside here. We did pull back off really aggressively before we came back up into it. This just doesn't make it as high probability that we're going to grab it and then sell off. Came into it, came through it, filled here on some nice volume. We did start to sell off. We have some orders down below that came on the book. That made the case for the short as well. But we are just continuing to grind higher. We got the cumulative volume delta getting ready to flip bullish. Here we are trading the 65s. I think I'm going to get the order filled coming up soon on a nice stop. 10 points on 1 mini. All good. Going to have to take that one on the chin. Yeah, man. Looks like we want to climb right towards the 70s. We got liquidity. Yeah, really no sellers bringing this thing back down, putting up a fight on this. This could be interesting. Not a huge impulsive crack to the upside, but it's just a continuation to grind higher.
Yeah, it's just on the start of that new candle too for the hourly.
Yep, the 11 a.m. candle. Yep. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't go check out the 70s now, at least. And then looking to the upside, we do have another 125 on the book up above. And then obviously we get pretty thick up around the 6,000 level. Big round psychological number that we came and tested, reacted from pretty harshly. I think we traded above it by a couple points. Eyeball anything else on your end, Christian? I'll throw your chart back up.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this. I mean, I'm watching just how the structure is developing. Let's pull up my chart. Just watching how structure is developing, both ES and NQ. So typically, whenever I see a trend, obviously the first thing I'm looking at is anytime you start to see a shift below, like essentially the swing low. But I look at the opening price for that impulse leg. Once we start to see a shift below here, then we do have essentially at least the start of a change in the state that it's moving.
Mm-hmm.
However, as it drifts higher, it's really hard. It's really hard to get engaged right here. You know, you do have a general area up here that can work, but this is what I'm looking at for first sign of invalidation on the trend. Same thing for NQ. I like NQ honestly right here. Like once we break below this, because what this would represent is not only a change in character, it also represents the fact that we have this bullish candle right here that's getting essentially inverted. So anytime you have that big bullish candle with a gap, once that flips, that's another sign. So if we can start to, and that's why I have these alerts are here. So once we start to see a move through here, that can potentially lead us to have an upper wick on this 15 minutes to then trade back towards essentially that opening area right there. So that's what's on my mind. As far as the daily goes, I do have this red zone up here. We did reject here one time. You know, if anyone's not familiar with this, these types of levels, just fair value gaps, you'll tend to notice reactions here. That's about as far as I go with it. You know, it's an area where I do see a statistical benefit in kind of paying attention to. It's just a gap between here and here. So you did get this rejection. So question is whether or not we fill this wick on the higher time frame or if we can hold and reject. So that's what I see right now. I'm hopeful for some sort of reversal. I have alerts for it, but as it currently stands, I don't have a trigger, so to speak. I can't really do much, even if I wanted to at this point.
Nice. Yeah. I'm looking at the same. I'm interested to see what happens around the 70s. I'm out of that 140L. Interested to see what happens around the 70s if we start to get any kind of sellers that step in up here. But yeah, I'm probably going to stay patient, look for something maybe towards the afternoon. If we continue the upside, this grind, I don't know that I have too much. We start to sell back off. Maybe it'll present an opportunity to look to the downside. We come back down through the 60s with some aggression. I could definitely see a reversion. But this is pretty strong, man. Strong market.
Yeah, it's relentless.
Yeah, just continuing to grind. No real pullback.
Yeah.
This is just
the David Goggins of charts right
here. Yep. So, but yeah, man, this has been awesome, Christian. I'm gonna wrap up the live on that note, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see you again. Tell the people where to find you one more time before we get ready to wrap up.
Decipher the algo on everything. I'm on Instagram the most. Chat with me. I'm talking to people all day on there. But do YouTube pretty consistently as well. Stream inside my Discord. All my links can be found either on my YouTube or just hit me up on Instagram. I got you. Thanks for having me, man. Really enjoy this.
And guys, before we end it right here, I'm gonna share this one more time. Boom. We have a full week of. Oh, I can't add it to the stage. There we go. We got a full week of guests coming on. Christian was awesome today. We got Jen. We got Rebecca. We have account giveaways every damn day on this live stream. Congrats to Andrew, who won the one today. Keith yesterday. We got one for every single day this week. And on Friday, bonus cash if you guys tune in every single day and get every form filled out. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Not a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content like code, RDF, and Top 1 Futures. Talk to you guys soon. Christian, thanks again, man. We'll run this one back soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.